tribute to Steptoe Son. Steptoe Son is a British sitcom written by Ray Galton and Alan Simpson about a father and son rag and bone business. They lived at Old Drum Lane, a fictional street in Shepherd's Bush in London. 4 series were broadcast by the BBC from 1962 to 1965, followed by a second run from 1970 to 1974. The theme tune Old Ned was composed by Rod Granier. The series was voted 15th in a 2004 poll by the BBC to find Britain's best sitcom. It was remade in the United States as Sanford and Son, in Sweden as Albert and Herbert. In 2000, the show was ranked number 44 on the 100 greatest British television programmes compiled by the British Film Institute. In a 2001 Channel 4 poll, Albert was ranked 39th on their list of the 100 greatest characters. Sue Corbett, Harry H. Corbett's daughter, reveals more about the role that her father played in Steptoe Son.
We were quite rural. We had 3 donkeys. Dad was working on the show and he was chatting to the animal handler who said, "I've got a donkey that needs rehoming. It's retiring from a life in show business. It'd been carrying Jesus, Mary and Joseph." And he said, "Yeah, we'll have it." He rang Mum and said, "Donkey? Yeah, that's great." He rang 5 minutes later and said, "It's got a friend." She went, "Yeah, it's all right, 2's fine." And 5 minutes later, phone goes again, "The friend's got a foal." "Yeah, 3 will do." So we had donkeys. Why the H? Under equity rules, one person can only have that name. And there was already a Harry Corbett of City fame that had joined equity before him. So he had to change his name and he changed it to Harry H. Corbett. He just plucked the H out of the air, and you always said that it stood for anything. My father, Harry H. Corbett, was a very shy man. He'd never leave the house without sunglasses and hats, to try and disguise himself, which was pointless really, because he was Harold from Steptoe Son, which was the most watched show on British TV.
Come on, Dad! It's Christmas morning! Jingle bell, jingle all the way! Come on, stop sticking in that pit, we've got work to do!
Well, Steptoe was well underway by the time I was born, and Harry used to read the scripts to us. It's how my brother and I learned how to read quite often. And but his voice, when storytelling, he was a great storyteller, but his voice was entirely different from the one in Steptoe.
No, I think what you'd say is the outside world has changed. The permissive age has gone further along the line, and we've just adapted with it. That's about all you can say, but our relationship still stays the same.
Harry's first and real strength was as a classical actor. In fact, he was called by the critics, they called him an actor of genius, which isn't bad. And he was down at Bristol doing Macbeth when the very first Steptoe script lumped through the letterbox, and he read it. He said, "Delicious, delightful, cannot wait to work on it."
Here's Ray Galton and Alan Simpson talking about how Steptoe Son came to be.
We had to earn some money. So we went to the BBC, and Tom Sloan, who was the head of light entertainment, said, "What do you want to do?" So Ray and I had always wanted to do a series with Frankie Howard.
We'd worked with Frank.
We worked with Frank,
but not a series.
On radio. We'd done a couple of radio series with him, in the early 50s. And he didn't want to know. He said, no, he's finished. This was 1962. He said, he's finished. No, his last series didn't get any figures. He said, "What I want you to do," he said, "I've got this subject."
This is the most remarkable thing ever.
He said, "I've got a title, Comedy Playhouse." He said, "It's my title." He said, "But I want you to do 10 weeks, right? 10 weeks. You can do what you like. I don't care. You can do a sketch show. You can do storylines. You can be in it. You can direct it. You can just give me 10 half hours called Comedy Playhouse."
Do we like? Remarkable from a guy that we thought was, very, very correct and army and not really in show, but to come out with a stroke like this was unbelievable. We had to say yes. And
well, the idea also appealed to us that we could see using actors now. we started using actors with Hancock, more straight actors, you know, people like Colin Gordon and you know, people, you know, and John Le Mesurier really was a straight actor, and he became part of the setup. But the idea of using straight actors to play would appeal to us very much. Apart from the fact they wouldn't be counting their lines like the average comic does. You know. Anyway, we got to number 4. Couldn't think of a subject for number 4. We had this little...
Going back to my childhood.
We had this thing that we used to do. If we couldn't think of anything, we'd come up with outlandish suggestions, you know. 2 rat catchers in Buckingham Palace, you know, just to make ourselves, you know. And Ray won, and he said 2 rag and bowmen, you know, and I thought he was, you know, coming up with one of his jokes, you know, and didn't one of the silences. I didn't say anything.
So for 3 days you didn't say anything?
3 hours I didn't say anything, and then I suddenly thought to myself, well, that's quite, you know, so it's a very bizarre background. And so I said, what about those 2 rag and bowmen? And he said, what? You know, he was serious, you know. I found out years later it wasn't a joke. He'd meant it, you know. And so we still had no idea of who they were, what the story was going to be, but we were getting to a deadline. We had to start writing. So.
They were father and son at that stage.
Wow,
Well, no, we hadn't. They hadn't at that time. We didn't know what they could have been friends.
We got halfway
or,
through, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was quite, you know, we enjoyable writing, and you know. And I said, well, you know, I said, but what are we going to do? I said, we can't go on like this. We can't write another 10 pages of just inconsequential chit-chat, you know. So we went back over it, and it was obvious that one was older than the other one, came out of the... And the other, you know, he was a bit of an invalid because he stayed at home all day while the other one went out. So we thought, right, one's older, one's younger. What are they? Brothers, cousins, you know, business partner? And then the idea came up, father and son, and that was the catalyst.
What's all this then? Have you been out all day just for this? All day just to collect this load of rubbish?
Oh, for God's sake, don't start that.
Didn't anybody know you was coming? Has the clapper on your bell gone or something? Or did you put slippers on the horse so nobody'd hear you?
Dad?
There. What you been doing, creeping round the streets? Cool blimey. 8 hours you've been out. I used to get more out of this than one house.
There ain't so much junk about these days.
Listen, son, if you don't shout out, they aren't going to come looking for you. You're going to bawl out. They're all in there listening to housewives. Sure as they can't hear you, creeping boy.
I was shouting. I got a sore throat through shouting. I'm cold, so don't start.
Oh, we can't retire on this, can we? Bottles, empty bottles. It's not good enough. A mattress. Who's going to sleep on springs like them? Oh, they jump out and bite you in the back. Oh, I know it says Steptoe Son scrap merchants on them gates, but you've got to do better than this, Harold. I mean, look at it. Where's the lead? I told you especially to keep your eye out for lead.
Dad, there ain't no lead about.
And where's the brass? There ain't no brass here.
There ain't no brass about either.
Yes, there's brass about. There's always brass about. And lead, you've got to shout for it, though. If it ain't tied up in ribbons outside the front gate, you just don't want to know, do you? Go and feed the horse.
I'm going to.
That's another thing. You don't look after that horse. How can you expect to get around quick if the horse ain't in good nick?
Now, look, Dad, you looks after the yard, and I looks after the horse and cart, all right?
He don't get enough to eat. He's entitled to eat, that horse is, same as you and me. He's just as much part of the business as we are.
Oh, for God's sake, Dad, don't keep on about that horse.
He's a dumb animal. He can't tell us when he's hungry.
Well, this one can. A greedy, hungry, gutted, great clod up.
Eddie, you watch your language. Your mother didn't like it, and neither do I. You haven't learned it all fast, so don't come out with it.
Well, here's a greedy, hungry, gutted... Look, you say stop outside of their houses. I daren't stop. You get off, knock on the door, he's got half their edge inside of him.
Well, come on. Let's get this rubbish off.
I was going to feed the horse.
Leave the horse. This is more important. Give his hand with this chaise along. Gee, what good's that? Half the straw's hanging out. Look at all that straw.
That's your precious horse did that. I had it down on a pavement, I went in to pay the woman, and when I got back, old greedy guts had got his great chompers stuck into it. I tell you, he's useless. He's old and he's slow. I don't know why you don't take him round the Knackers yard and have him melted down.
Melted down? You don't like that horse, do you? Come on, admit it, you've never liked him, have you?
Well, seeing as how you brought it up, no, I don't. He's vicious, he is. He lunged at me again today.
That horse is no fool. He knows when he's not liked. You got to handle him right, like I handle him. He don't lunge at me.
Of course he don't. He knows when he's onto a good thing. I mean, the way you treats him, giving him sweets and lumps of sugar all the time, his teeth has gone rotten through you. I don't call that being kind to an horse, making his teeth go rotten.
It's not the sweets, he's getting old. That's why his teeth is rotten.
Glue, that's all he's good for.
Yeah.
We finished the play with him deciding he's going to go, and he couldn't go because the old man wouldn't let him have the horse. And it worked beautifully. And then during the writing of it, Duncan was said, who do you want to play the parts? And we said, well, there are two actors that we'd never met, but we admired their work. Harry H. Corbett, Wilfrid Bramble.
Harry was appearing at Bristol Old Vic. He was doing Henry IV, I think. And the script was sent to him, and he read it, and he persuaded them to let him have a week off, and which they gave, and he did it. So there he was. He was a king one week and a rag and bone man the next.
Another thing about Steptoe Son, which could have changed your lives quite dramatically, is that you never wanted it to be a series at first.
No, not at all. But see, the thing is, while we were writing it, we knew it was a series. You know, when we finished it, we knew it was a series, but we didn't want to do it. I mean, 10 years of Hancock, I didn't know that. No, having this is fine. Suit us down to the ground. Having in a comedy playhouse, and on the first day of rehearsal, Tom Sloane was down there, and looking and smiling. Nudge, nudge, nudge. You know what you've done here, don't you? No, what? Oh, come on. What? It's a series. No, Tom, no. Never.
It's one on his own.
No, I don't want to do it. No.
Ruined.
And he appeared every day, and he took us out to lunch, and he did this and he did that, and we came, all the objections we could think of are manufactured, stupid ones as well. And in the end, about 6 months had gone by, and in the end we said, look, if Harry Corbett and Wilfrid Bramble want to do it, we'll do it. Thinking, two actor laddies, and they wouldn't want to do this for a living, and we couldn't have been more wrong if we tried. It was put to them, and they jumped at it.
Years later, we found out that when they were employed to do the first one, The Offer, they were employed under drama rates as straight actors, and I think they got paid £90 each, or 90 guineas each for that show. When it comes to do a series, it becomes a light entertainment show, and the money in light entertainment is much more for actors than it is for drama. And so they were offered about,
probably £700 or something.
Considerably more money, and of course they leapt at it and never had so much money in their lives. That's why they did it. But
and that's why we did it.
And that's why we did it. We did a 6-week series. They repeated the first one, and then they did six new ones. And Ray and I went off on holiday. Ray had taken a villa in Spain. We were going out there to work on a film script. And I picked up the Daily Mail in Bagnols-sur-Mer, right on the border of France. And it said about this new series, Steptoe Son, sweeping the country. This is halfway through the series. Harry came out to join us and said, he said, it's ridiculous. He said, I can't move anywhere.
It was everywhere. We were on the holiday in Greece in a little taverna up in the mountains. Walked in, and there on the telly, there's Steptoe. And it was like, and all the locals, he's Steptoe. And I think they were quite disappointed that he couldn't actually speak Greek to them, because, of course, he was dubbed in the programme. He didn't know Greek.
He said the show, and the BBC did that they'd never done before. They repeated it immediately. They followed it on, so it ran for 12 weeks. And at the end of the 12 weeks, it was an enormous success. So, because now we had no excuse not doing a second series. And we did 4 series altogether, Then we had a 4-year break, and then we came back for another 4. So we did 8 series altogether.
And it was such a hit that I think, isn't it true, that Harold Wilson wanted transmission time change because he thought it would stop people voting?
Yeah, it was in the 64 election, that was. He said that, Labour Party traditional support is in the evening, and this show is going out at 8:30. Well, they won't come out.
Was that before or after we invited us to dinner?
That was I can't. Yeah, well, it was. Anyway, apparently the BBC refused to change it anyway, and they still got in, so it couldn't have. Yeah.
Come on then, let's see what you've been spending our capital on. Hey, what's this? Woolens or rags?
I don't know. It's a bit of both, I dare say.
What rates did you pay? Woolens or rags? You got £6 here. Are they cream or dark?
They're mostly cream. The rest is rags.
How many times have I told you to sort them out before you pay for them?
Gordon Bennett, I only gave her a tenner for the lot.
That's not bad, I suppose. I'll sort them out in future.
Hey, look. You moans about the way I treats the horse. You moans about the way I goes out totting. All right, then, you go out with the cart. Go on, you go out. I'll stay here in the yard. I wouldn't mind sitting round the fire drinking tea all day long. Go on, you get up on that plank if you're so good at it. I'm sick and tired of sitting up there, staring at that great backside all day long. It's going up and down, up and down, up. You go out tomorrow. I stop breathing down my neck. Come on, help me unload this stuff.
You know I can't take the cart out anymore. Not with me legs.
Yeah, well, that's it then, isn't it? Well, you don't want to say anything, do you? Otherwise, I'm liable to turn this lot in and be off. I'm sick to death of you, the yard, the cart, and the horse.
Yeah, what do you know? What could you do?
Oh, look, mate, don't you worry about me. I can look after myself. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I've had an offer.
An offer? What? Get out of here.
Oh, yes, I am. And it don't include you or that rotten horse. See? OK. All right? Well, what's it then?
What offer? Who from?
Never you mind. I'll go and feed the horse.
You don't want to go taking no offers? We got a good business here.
Well, you're all right now, aren't you?
You don't want to go taking no offers. Young fella like you. You know where you are here. Outside you don't know where you are. You're safe here. You're a partner here. And there's not many lads of your age with a partnership in a thriving business like this.
Dad, I'm 37.
Well, that's young, isn't it? If I was 37, I'd be out with that horse.
If you was 37, you wouldn't be out with that horse because that horse wouldn't have been born. Yeah. You would have been out with the horse we had before, and it was a much better horse than the rotten one I have to go round with.
The other interesting thing, well, people have commented on, I suppose there must be some truth, but it's because Ray and I wrote both scripts, and it's ourselves, really. The Steptoe Son, were in a way an extension of of Hancock and Sid James, albeit you could get into a deeper country with the Steptoe than you could with Hancock. But there was an extension. The attitudes between each other, the soi-disant intellectual as opposed to the thickhead who Sid and the old man were, had no airs and graces, and both Harry and Hancock were living in a
knew there was a better life out there. That was it.
So there was that similarity.
But I think most of the great television comedy in Britain has been about class, hasn't it?
And failure. Yeah. I mean, right.
But it's right there, right up to The Office, isn't it? Class and failure.
But you can't be funny about success, I don't think.
The big difference in American sitcoms and ours is they're all good-looking, very rich, very wealthy, and successful. In ours, they're all layabouts or dodgy dealers. Or duckers and divers.
Hopeless dreamers. Del Boy, Basil Fawlty, all of them.
Absolutely. And the Minder, they're all, a little bit seedy, little bit this, little bit that,
But, I was saying to somebody the other day, say every day, really, bad holidays you will remember for the rest of your life. And in recounting them, you would tell people, and you start laughing. But you can't engross anybody in, I had a wonderful holiday last year, did you? Be dead in about a minute, wouldn't they? But disaster is funny, and failure is funny.
You had it too easy, you had. My dad made me come up the hard way. That's where I gone wrong. I put you straight into the business. You didn't have to work your way up. Straight onto the cart you went with your own horse and your own name on the gate.
My name on the gate? Come here.
What for?
Come here, come on. Come here.
All right.
Now look at this gate. My name ain't on the gate. It's only got and Son.
Well, that's you, ain't it?
No, it ain't. It's you. It was your dad who had that sign painted.
Well, it's an old firm. No point in wasting money. Keep on changing the sign. It'll all come to you one day when I'm dead and buried. I don't suppose that'll be long.
Oh, God, here we go. Oh, here comes a sad bit.
Hey, put that violin down. That might be valuable.
Oh, yes, the Stradivarius, without a doubt. Here, how about a quick chorus of Arts and Flowers? All right.
Yes.
Da, da, da,
Yeah, be
da,
quiet.
da, da. Come on, come on. Da,
Stop it,
da,
will you? Stop
da, 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 da. Oh, come on. Oh, tell us how you're hard done by. Oh, tell us how ill you are. Come on. Oh, tell us how you work your fingers to the bone just for me. Yes, come on. Say how ungrateful I am. Come
Stop
on.
it, stop it, stop it, here, stop it, stop it, stop it. You'll all have your head off.
Well, that's sword down. You might get hurt.
I'll teach you to laugh at your father.
Yeah, you've got to get out of the scabbard first, mate.
Harold.
Oh, what's the matter,
Harold. It's me heart, Harold. I think me heart's gone. I've overdone it this time.
I'll come off it. There's nothing wrong with you.
It's me heart, I tell you.
Oh, all right, then sit on the floor if you want to. Look, you've been moaning about your heart for 40 years. Every time you can't get your own way, you've had 15 heart attacks, to my knowledge.
I know.
And if you have 3, you die.
Who told you that?
The doctor told me, the one who come round last time. He says there's nothing wrong with you anywhere.
He's lying. There's me legs.
Your legs are. There was nothing wrong with your legs just now, was there? When you was going to have my head off. Come on. Let's finish unloading this gear.
You don't want to go taking no offers. I've built up this business for you, son. It's yours when I'm gone. And then when your son comes along, you won't have to change the sign either. Steptoe and Son. Only it'll be you and your son.
But I ain't got no son, have I? I haven't even got a wife.
Harry and Wilfred Bramble, who played Albert, there was always talk that they didn't get on, didn't like each other, but they got on fine. They worked well together, respected each other. I think the talk started because they were such consummate actors that it looks like they really hate each other.
I cannot spend another Christmas stuck in this rattle with you. Over 40 years I've done it, year after year after year. And if I has to do another one, I shall go start raving bonkers.
After Steptoe, it was so huge, there could be no return to classical acting. He was typecast, and he was accepting of it and realistic about it. So he did different things. From about the age of 8, I dressed him in panto, which was great experience for me because I wanted to join the business. He knew that, and he always took every opportunity to teach me what he could, one of which was don't be late. And he did this by deliberately making me late for a school play rehearsal. So I would feel the icy panic of not being on time, and it's never left me. I was 13 when Harry died, so he didn't see me or my family grow up, and I do often wonder what he would have made of me, because being an actor, I probably would have been a better actor had he been around. He would have been on hand to give criticism and notes. But I think he would have been more interested in whether I was a decent person, because he was a decent person, he was a good man.
That was a tribute to Steptoe Son.